There's a bakery in London called Honey & Company, and they have amazing morning buns, which is basically just a big old excuse to eat pistachio paste, strawberry jam, and rosewater syrup for breakfast. What's good about this dough is that you can add the yeast along with all the other ingredients. You don't need to proof it first. You actually never really need to proof yeast first because we're pretty sure this is going to work. And you want your butter in cubes and you want it to be room temperature. This dough uses bread flour, which has a higher protein content than regular all-purpose flour, and what it does is it makes for a slightly chewier dough. However, if you don't have bread flour, you can go ahead and use all-purpose flour. The dough will just be a little softer. This dough comes together really quickly. You just knead it for 2-3 minutes, and now I'm going to put it in the fridge. It's not even really going to rise, it's just going to kind of come together. After you've chilled the dough, you have to roll it out, and that's an important step. You don't want to use too much flour when you're rolling it out because you don't want the dough to get tough. This is a very tender, light dough. So a little bit of flour and then keep the dough moving as you roll it, and that way it won't stick. All right, so we want 16 by 8. We are good. And I'm just going to even out the edges. I want to cut these into 8 pieces. So cut it in half this way. You could just use a regular knife, but I feel very professional with my little bench scraper. And then now that you've got your squares, I'm going to put them in my muffin tin. The pistachio filling for this is really easy. It's just a simple pistachio paste, and you make it in your food processor with pistachio nuts and butter and sugar, and then you bind that together with a little flour and an egg. And then just a little strawberry jam on top. And then now all you do is you just fold the dough corners over the filling. If you want to make some of this recipe ahead, you can. When they're all ready to go, put them in the freezer. Then when you want to bake them, just pop them in the oven and you can have them fresh and warm for breakfast. You know that these have risen enough when they start to look a little bit puffy, and then the corners also start to kind of open up a little bit. And then you just bake them. Now this is an interesting technique. At Honey & Co., they brush the buns with rosewater syrup, and it makes them absolutely beautiful. You can see that they get shiny, and the warm buns also absorb all the rose flavor. And then you're supposed to let these cool slightly before digging in. I think slightly is about now. This recipe makes the perfect amount for one.